Hi, Emilio. How are you?
Hi, Ranjeet. I'm doing well. Yourself?
Wonderful, wonderful, and welcome to the Next League team. And for everybody else to know, Emilio is our director of admissions, and he's the right man to kind of kind of identify you, shortlist you, and kind of enroll you into the program if somebody is interested. So, Emilio, what we have today?
Yeah, definitely. So, our feature question today is the following: what emerging trends in specific industries are influencing the ease or difficulty of building a successful EB1A profile?
Many people keep asking these questions, but I have a very different perspective on this, Emilio. What emerging trend? You don't. First of all, let's understand that it's not about you getting EB1A. It's first about you becoming the best person in your field of expertise or rise to the top, and that's what EB1A is seeking actually here. You don't choose your industry or choose your field based on what EB1A wants. EB1A is awarded to you or granted to you or bestowed upon you by virtue of your good work that you are doing. I mean, let's be very honest about it. There is no point in, saying that somebody is, there is an emerging trend for technology, so let me move toward technology. No, we have had people from different array of field actually in our program. We had people who were technologists, people who were AI expert, people who were in supply chain, people who have been like, let us say, clinical trial experts, people who are even graphic designers, for example, or UX designer. So we have a multitude. The question is not that, okay, fine, what is an emerging trend, so I tend to gravitate myself towards that. The whole objective should be that you have to become the best version of yourself in your field of expertise. But yes, having said this, there are certain ways and tools which you can always look at in a way that can kind of inspire or kind of help somebody or adjudicator to look at yourself in a more constructive way. Let's say, for example, there are essentially only three reasons for which one can get EB1A. The first is you have to be an expert. So frankly speaking, your question of saying which specific industry does not really matter. So you have to be an expert. Now, second thing is that expertise should be beneficial for the USA. Now you have to decide how you can make your contribution for the USA beneficial. Remember, there are 2 million people who are wanting green card. So asking for EB1A green card is like talking to the White House and saying that, look, I'm Emilio, this is my expertise, and this is how it will be benefit to the USA. I mean, and please give me a green card and write on the green card that Emilio, I'm a person of extraordinary ability, and give me green card instantaneously. Now, to reach to that level of vibration, you don't kind of navigate your way through it just like that. You need to become the best version of yourself in whatever field that you are doing. But again, having said this, there are ways and tools you can always connect your expertise to how you can benefit to the US actually. Of course, there are, in terms of what US is seeking, but after having studied over 1,000 cases, after having met over 100 plus EB1A achievers, people have come from diverse field of expertise, and they are the best people. How best they can kind of contribute to the nation building. That is something that USA is looking for, not a particular field. So for many people who are looking to kind of, yes, semantics you can always play around possibly. Of like, instead of logistics, you can use supply chain. Okay, instead of just saying engineering, technology, or tech, you have to use proper semantics. That could be useful. But that's what I would say at this moment here. I hope that answers the question. May not satisfy or may not make many people happy about what is being said, but you have to be best in your field. That's the goal.
Got it. Thanks. So the next question, it's from one of our members of our Facebook group, EB1A Aspirants.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you think the new administration will bring changes to EB1A? Do you think it will make it more difficult to achieve?
Well, my own perception after, I myself have been an EB1A achiever. I did everything myself. And there is, I always like to speak rather than from a speculation perspective, more from a data perspective. Even the present administration, if you look back in the history, EB1A award was maximum during that time. Okay, to the best of my understanding, EB1A is something the USA is seeking. Okay, you are benefiting to the USA as long as, again, I'm saying at the cost of duplication, and I say this during every session, even to our students who are in the program, that let's say, for example, I'm just hypothetically making it up. Let's say you are a rocket fuel scientist. You can make a rocket, your rocket fuel, go to Mars and come back without refueling. I'm just kind of making this up here, and that's your expertise. And let me promise you, Emilio, no matter which administration are we talking about, you will get selected. And because US will really want you. Now here comes the question: what is the profundity of your expertise? How deep expert you are, how incisive you are, and how you can benefit to the US. As long as you are able to articulate this in a more elaborate form, demonstrate your purpose why you want here, I don't think any administration will have, I don't think administrations make someone victim of prejudice. And it's the last thing that I would say, that for EB1A extraordinary ability. Because again, if you go back, the genesis of the INA Act, which speaks about in 1991, it was George Bush actually who George Bush Senior, who had signed the current act in the present form, and there was another gentleman who wrote this entire act, whose name is Representative Morrison. And one of the features for this preamble for this entire INA was to US to have talented people actually here. And if that being the sole objective, I have personally seen over the years, and I'm personally again convinced that no matter which administration, if you are the best in your field, there is nothing to worry about.
Got it. Yeah, no, that's very helpful. Thanks. All right, moving on to the next question. How do patents help for EB1A if the patents do not have current usage or licenses, but the patents are approved and directly related to the field of endeavor?
Oh, that's a very wonderful question, actually, because many people feel that they need to have patents for the purpose of EB1A, and they feel that this can help fulfill the criteria called something as an original contribution, which really, while original contribution is good, but without, you don't get EB1A or even fulfill a criteria. Let us say, forget getting EB1A, you don't even fulfill a criteria if there is no, if I may use the word, there is no impact factor. Let's say that. Mm-hmm. Okay. I have seen certain noise and certain denials or RFEs which have been very clear in making very pronounced statements that for the purpose of the law and hypothetical or proposed benefit would not make any difference at all. It does not work like that actually here. So one needs to really understand that it is the impact that will matter, and even a potential impact does not matter. So patent by itself, and in fact I have seen some very strong denials which went on saying that it looks like the patent is being specifically undertaken for the purpose of application for this petition itself. Because either they were, it was not a very good petition, or the patent was not awarded, or one can make it was done prior to just few days before the application was filed. It would not make any difference. Why should, let's look it from a perspective. If the goal is that your expertise has an impact, how are you showing an impact by just having a patent actually here? And it has to be, of course, related to the field of endeavor, which is very good. There has to be someone speaking about it. There is a patent evaluation framework that one has to create, and that will be something much more beneficial that it will be in practice. Actually, there is one user who has just put up this question. I'm taking this up right now. That hi Ranjeet, what are the chances of getting EB1A if applied from India? Let me put it this way, Bharat, you don't have to bother about whether from where you are applying. In fact, I had applied from India. We have had one more case of individual, a lady actually from India. She had applied and she got her EB1A. It has no bearing actually on from where you are applying. It's a meritorious based application But the only difference is that what happens is that you need to go through a council of processing instead of adjustment of status. If you are in this thing, the chances would be only as long as you are an expert and you fulfill the same criteria. And it's agnostic to where you are. You could be from Nigeria, you could be from Ethiopia for that matter, and India, anything. The fact is, are you an expert and you are fulfilling the criteria? That should suffice, I would say this. So that's wonderful. Any other question, Emilio?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for that. So yeah, the next question is there any expiration date for recommendation letters? And can I use a letter of recommendation that I received for another reason?
Okay, you are talking about having a letter of recommendation that I received for another reason. I mean, frankly, this is a too cryptic for me to kind of respond and decipher and then respond to this. Let's break it down into two parts. Expiration date for recommendation letter. Let's say, for example, for EB1A, there is something always in law. There is something called a statute of limitations, and one needs to kind of get follow a certain process in that you can't use something which is 2-year old, 5-year old, 10-year. I mean, but having said this, let us say you are trying to prove that you worked in an organization and you did certain exemplary work during that time. You might have received a letter of appreciation during that time, very specifying somebody that, okay, dear Mr. Emilio, you have been working with the Next League for the last since last 2 years, and I'm talking about something you got this, let us say, in 2015. You have been wonderful. You have done this ABCD. Your project has been very beneficial for the people. And once all these things are mentioned in detail, you can definitely use it right now to show either a sustained acclaim, or if you are using that for a critical role or a critical role. It has to only make sense, actually. It has to make sense. That's the most important part here. And relevance, because there are three aspects of any evidence being used. One is it has to be credible. I mean, the law says that it has to be credible, it has to be relevant, and it has to be probative. There are three things that come. I again repeat at the cost of duplication. The first is it has to be credible, it has to be relevant, and it has to be probative. As long as the evidence are fulfilling these standards, I don't see any problem in terms of any expiration date or something like this. You can use any old document also for that matter, as long as it's wonderful. There's another question. I think Bharat Kumar Bhola has put up that for scholarly articles, do publications which H index of 7 and 120 citation in AI, data science, computer vision justify the criteria? I mean, Bharat, one point for you is that it's not about you fulfilling the criteria. It's about the impact of this. If you are going for, if citations is your strength, actually, let's understand. You have to see somebody who would have risen to the top of the field. How are you compared with that? In certain cases, in certain expertise for that matter, if you maybe even 50 citations are good enough. In certain field of expertise, maybe you need 500 citations. But having said this, the first question would be: are citations a success metric for your field of endeavor? That's the whole thing. We have had people who kind of have used AI and generative AI or ethical AI. Their citations rate would be very less. Actually, I would say that, because that was not something they would like to evaluate themselves as. So I don't see any. One needs to go a little deeper that how you define success metrics in your field of endeavor, and do this. I have seen people even without a single citation also getting EB1A approved. So I think one needs to go a little deeper. While I'm trying to respond to you in a very indirect way, this is too less information for me to come to a very conclusive part of it. So let's take the next question, Emilio.
Definitely, yeah. So this next question is also from a member of the Facebook group, EB1A Aspirants. Hello, there are two kinds of people, those with a priority date and those without one. For those without a priority date, is working towards EB1A a viable option to consider for themselves?
Well, there is only, let's say if you are in the USA, you are working, you want to fulfill your American dream. And in that particular case, the fastest way of getting green card, especially if you are from certain origin like India, China, is EB1A. Let's understand that. So priority date or no priority date? Priority date you have got it because your employer has possibly filed your EB2 application and you have a priority date and which you can always port it, which out of we have had over close to 39 people who got their EB1A and they could just kind of port their EB2 date to EB1A and they are getting this EB1A. So that's not something that's something that is one part of it. But EB1A would always remain a fastest way of getting green card, especially if there is because of the 7% quota that happens, and there is a queue, and this is applicable mostly for people from India, which would be largely affected by this, or China possibly. So that's how I would like to say that. So don't think of any priority date or something, but there's another card we know that is national interest waiver. But again, for Indians, it may not be a very viable option because if you don't have a priority date, it doesn't make any sense actually.
Got it. All right, jumping up to the next question. Can I apply for NIW and EB1A at the same time? And can I use the same evidence for both the petitions, like recommendation letters, awards, etc.?
Okay, I mean, I don't know your country of origin from where you are kind of are, and I would just assume hypothetically that you are from India for a second, let's say that. Then why do you want to apply for NIW if you're applying for EB1A actually? So I would rather focus your energy because NIW will just lock your priority date possibly. And I think I forgot to mention this, the only benefit that there have been some students who joined the program. In 1 or 2 months, they applied for NIW, they locked their dates, worked on their profiles. In next 1.5 years, they got their EB2 and they could port the date. So that was the only reason why they would do this. But why do you want to do it concurrently actually here? I would just ask that question. And if you are not from India, then why do you want to go for EB1A? I mean, that would be a very simple question. India, China, Pacific, because you can go for NIW. But if you are asking from a legal perspective, well, this is not a legal advice at all actually here, but just an information that we are trying to dispense here. Yes, one can go for NIW and EB1A at the same time. I mean, law doesn't prohibit somebody from doing that, but this question seems a little paradoxical to me at this moment actually. That's
Got it. Yeah. Well, let's move on to the next question. So I am an AI researcher with numerous publications, but my work has primarily been collaborative. Can I still qualify for an EB1A green card considering the emphasis on individual contributions?
Wonderful question. I would say that. Remember one thing, that if two or more people have come together and did some collaborative work, it could be creating something or writing a paper. Let's say that. Definitely, each individual has certain strengths that has come forward and that have made people come together and do something. And definitely, if you have certain unique expertise that you have brought forward, it's a wonderful thing to do. Just to give you an illustration, we have had 3 people in our program who created something together, actually an app. Now that particular app had 3 components. One is the design component. The second is it was based on generative AI, so they had an AI. It has an AI component, and there is something building an app together. So there were 3 different expertise that comes together. One is artificial intelligence, the application of artificial intelligence. Second is the design aspect of it, and third is building the entire app together, consolidation. So the expertise is creating apps, then UX design, and the last is application of AI. Now the 3 people have come together and have done this. Definitely for this collaboration, there are 3 different expertise which are being used together. Now, if you have done something like this, you should definitely, it could be an article, it could have been an article also. What particular aspect that you contributed needs to get highlighted. And also I would further add that also maybe a recommendation from other collaborator saying that what aspect of the expertise that contributed to the article to make it more profound. So that should help, I think.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for that.
Wonderful.
All right, moving on to the next question. If I join the NLP with someone, will someone help in reviewing the draft support letters and recommendation letters?
Definitely. I mean, it's that's the whole objective of the program. I mean, we have certain structure that we always recommend, and people who have followed this has been very beneficial. Will definitely help you. It's not only, you see. Remember, there are three dimensions of someone getting EB1A. The first is you have to be a degree of your expertise. That's the first dimension. The second is understanding the EB1A jurisprudence itself. That's the second dimension. And you need to understand in the EB1A jurisprudence that what is EB1A, why EB1A, what is the US seeking of you before you even apply. You need to understand the dynamics of it. And the last is how to present yourself. Not only about how to kind of prepare, structure the recommendation letters, expert opinions, support letters, how a petition structure should be, how to work with an attorney, how to approach an attorney, and how to seek the best and how to collaborate with an attorney. I mean, there are all three dimensions that have a success is an interplay between all the three things together. And we will definitely be happy to help you across this endeavor. So you are welcome. If you need something, you are ready to, we are happy to reach out to us, reach out to Emilio or reach out to me. We'll be happy to help you. And let's take the last question, Emilio.
Yeah, definitely. So would you mind sharing your insights on effectively demonstrating a critical role for achieving sustained national and international acclaim, particularly in the context of applying for EB1A?
Emilio, I love this question actually, and I would again, for the paucity of time, I would just give a very brief response to this, but I would be happy to take this next week also as one of the featured questions.
Okay.
But having said this, let me give you a very correct perspective that in every, we are talking here of a critical role being connected to national or international expertise, which is very relevant actually in this case. The question is that how your work has impacted the company, has benefited the vision of the company, and how the company's vision is beneficial for the nation's benefit, country's benefit. Let us say, for example, if you can connect, because every company has a vision and a mission statement. So can you do that? That's the first way of doing this. The second way, there are certain, and how can you quantify that in terms of your success metrics? So that's the second way of doing things. And the third way for doing this would be to use certain mathematical models. Like there is something called as Steve and Lewis model. It's a basically model which essentially talks about how much an individual as a human resource is valued to the company. There are a lot of companies like Infosys use that in the balance sheet also, saying that, okay, fine, Emilio is valued as $6 million to Next League program. One can actually quantify that, and you can get an expert opinion out of this. And we have seen that many people in our program have used it, and it has been wonderful because basically you are giving them a right data points. So having said this, I would just stop here with reference to this question. I think I would be happy to take this particular question more. And friends, if you have more questions, please write to us. We'll be happy to take them forward. If you want to join the Next Week program, please reach out to Emilio or I, and we'll be more than happy to help you. So wish you all the best and congratulations, and wish you all the best in your EB1A journey. Thank you for joining us today. If you have any further questions or need personalized guidance, please reach out to us. We are here to help you every step of the way in your journey towards achieving your American dream. Let's connect and make it happen together.